Hey guys, this is National Master Kevin Yang back at it with another video. So, remember how I told you I had this somewhat difficult scenario with Runinja where I was preventing castling, but now there's a new threat. Knight c7 check. So what happens now? Well, I played a few moves. I kind of thought about it. I said, what if I just ignore it, right? Knight c7, no biggie. Rook takes, knight takes e4, queen c2, and now I have the move knight e to c5 because there's take, queen a5, and boom, bam, right? So what happens here? I mean, it could work. I could do this, but there's queen d2, and I thought about it. Maybe there was king d8, but I don't know. I looked at this and I was very sketchy. I was skeptical about it. So instead, I played the move rook takes c1. After queen takes c1, I said check, bishop d2, and I ran back. I was like hiding. So after knight c7, king f8, and I'm finally out of this. After bishop a5, I play knight b6. That's why the knight was there. He helped out. Now he's blocking the site. Knight b5, queen d7. I'm preparing to take and maybe get my bishop out this way. Also prevent white from doing knight takes a7 because now the queen can take. And at the same time, I get out of this pin, right? Now I'm having a counterattack at the same time. Queen b2, and that helps me more. Knight c4. I just want to trade down. You can see that I am up a piece, right? I'm up a piece. What do you do when you're up a piece? You trade down. You go heavy on trading down. Queen b4, bam, bam. Now bishop h6. It doesn't matter. You want to play knight takes h7? Doesn't matter. I'll just play maybe queen h3, maybe king g7. I'm getting my pieces out. But in the end, the material is what counts now. So after castles, this is what the grave mistake is. This allows queen h3, just saying, I'm coming in, and I'm coming in. What are you going to do about it? Queen d8, king g7, rook to c1. And here I say, I'm going to take it. Queen c7, let me go back to f4, and now the mating net. Do you guys know this mating net? If you do, that's great. If you don't, let's learn. Figure it out. Mate in 4, please don't look at the engine, but if you do, I'm just going to reveal it now. Bishop takes, king h1, check, check, checkmate. As simple as that. So, at this point, if I played queen takes, you run. But if I play bishop takes, you can't run because of this. So you go back, then you do this, then you check, and then you clump them up. So, what did we learn from this game? Well, we learned, at this point, e4. Remember, if you commit to e3, don't play e4, please. It breaks my heart to see people move the same pawn 3 times. I've seen someone who moved from e3 to e4 to e5. I mean, from the progression of the game, I can see why that matters, but at the start, don't move it twice. Just move it once. I felt like this structure was really good, but e4 it got punished very silently with queen b6, and after bishop e3, bam, and queen a3 and the move b5 just punished the white camp. So at this point, it was all slow conversion, active play, trading down, and especially with this mate threat. That was what did the job. Let's move on to the final game I played against Runinja. d4, d5, knight c3. So this is what is called a Jobava London. Do we know who Jobava is? Probably not, but his name is Badur Yobava, or Jobava, Yobava. However you say it, I hope I'm not pronouncing his name wrong, but he is Georgian, and he's very famous for his kind of London. C5, E3, A6, just saying, you won't go knight B5, you won't get to play knight C7. And here I play D takes C5. I get a little bit greedy. And it really depends. Here you can play knight F3, you can play bishop E2, you can play F3 and G4. It really depends upon the white player. So I played D takes C5, knight C6, I played knight to F3, just developing. After bishop G4, I played bishop E2. Some people say take, E6, perfectly fine. But E6 is also perfectly fine. Here, I make another jab at it. I play the move knight A4. Now this is not a great move by any means. We're just trying to keep the pawn, but I want to see if I can lure our Runinja into playing queen A5. So after queen A5, I play the move C3. And here I have an advantage already. So why is that? The reason is because after bishop takes C5, B4 is going to fork the two pieces, right? So what was the right move, do you think, after knight A4? Take a second to think about it. The right move here is the move knight to E4, just saying, I'm going to take this way, right? There's going to be no fork. There's going to be no fork of C3 and B4. There's going to be no time for that. We're just going to play knight E4 and take on C5. Except with queen A5, C3, and now G6, that was very unexpected, but our Runinja sort of realized, I can't really take that C5 pawn. I'm going to abandon the cause and just go for something else. So our Runinja played G6, and after B4, Queen D8, Knight B6, Rook A7, the Rook is out of play. So I've achieved one thing, and now Knight to E5. So at this point, it really does not matter much what white plays except to not blunder. So for example, white could play queen a4 and be okay. Queen a4 followed by knight e5. a4 would also be okay, although I would be a little bit worried about a5. So I would say a3 would be okay. I played the move knight to e5. I said, I have the space advantage right now. I want to keep that space advantage. I want to keep the pawn. I want to trade. And at this point, here's the reason why the computer suggests that it's a mistake. The computer suggests that it's a mistake because this bishop is much better than this bishop. And I make the mistake of trading my good bishop for his bad bishop. You see, all his pawns are on light squares, and this bishop is sort of like he only has specific squares to go to. So that's why, the computer didn't like my move, because it was obviously, I had a good bishop, and we were trading for his bad bishop. So this is bad for me. But I decided, because of my space advantage, I can let things slide a little bit. Knight takes e5, bishop takes e5, and here I play the move king takes e2. Now, here's why I play king takes e2. I envision my queen going to d4 and threatening this battery. Right, so after bishop g7, I decide to reverse course. I say queen a4. I want you to move your king. King f8, and now f3. What do? I'm just preventing this knight from coming into e4. I'm sort of saying, the only places you can go to are here, here, and here, all of which are not desirable. So after king g8, I play rook a d1, and I decide, let's start putting pressure here. Knight e8, takes, c4. Knight c7, queen c2, just rerouting it to c3 and e5, a5, and here I play the move b5. I say, you know what? I cannot let this rook escape. So after rook e8, I play a4. I'm saying you're staying in there once and for all. You're not going to come out this way. So I'm going to keep you in there. After queen e7, I play the move queen c3, just affirming that check, king g8, and now I take. And this is overpowering because my queen does the job of protecting. I'm about to bring my rook in. Queen e6. Now, I felt like queen e6, the only purpose was to really attack this rook, and I would suggest a minor improvement would be to move that other rook out. So after queen e6, I bring my other rook, king f2. You notice at this point I'm not doing much. So here's the first move where I say I want to take action. h4, just what am I doing? I want him to take, or I want Runinja to take with the h-pawn so that I can use my rook on the h-file and checkmate on h8. That's my goal. If h5 happens, very good by Runinja. Queen d4, queen e7. I'm not doing much. All I'm doing is I'm just putting my pieces on slightly better squares. So after queen c4, this battery this way, I'm setting up this battery this way. So Runinja finally falters with king h7. So the move here was probably king f8 or king h8, right? So king h7, rook to d7. So after rook takes, queen f4, and queen takes f6, it was all game over. So what really strengthened the downfall in this game? Well, for one thing, queen a5 it wasn't the best move, right? So what did I tell you? Knight e4, knight e7, knight d7. Use your knight to take this pawn because the queen in this taking the pawn, well, that is subject to population Forktown. So after b4, you see, I got the rook out of the game, and I have to reflect upon my own mistake of accidentally allowing my good bishop, the bishop that does a lot of pinning and supports this a4 b5, to get traded off by this bad bishop. And so king takes e2 was a very crucial moment. Queen a4 I don't think was the best. Probably bishop d6, preventing the king from castling, was much better. Preventing the king from f8 and just preventing the king from moving to the king's left side in general. Because after knight d7, here's where queen a4 will come in. So that gets complicated, but that's okay. I played king takes e2, queen a4, so basically said f3, rook d1, and you see I'm beginning to build this pressure on the d file, and that slowly it benefits me putting all this pressure because number one, this rook is out of the game, and we need to keep it out of the game as long as possible. That's my goal the whole time, except near the end, you can see that I'm just consolidating. I'm not doing much. Like, in fact, at this moment, queen e7, like, the move f6 didn't feel necessary, you know? Just play something like queen e6, queen e7. Move back and forth. That's pretty much all you can do now. But after f6, now there's a clear line of sight, right? So at this point, I could have also played rook d7, but I decided not to. So after queen c4, rook d7, and this gave me the win. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Please have fun. Please discover your curiosity, and please don't hurt yourself too much. So, thank you and enjoy chess.